welcome back to the Divergent Comics podcast. I'm Gary, here today doing an actual indie comic creator interview. So for those of you who caught the episode last week, I had Megan and Kevin on. We talked about Spider-Man. It was a very fun conversation. But it's like, I can't get away from these interviews for too long. So I had to bring Khris with the C on along with Khris with the K. They have a new comic that they're working on, and I think this has kind of been a long time coming because I've been following Khris with the C on Threads, I think since Threads started.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
Yeah, so like we've always interacted, we've had conversations and things like that. So it's been a long time coming. And I'm pretty sure I follow Khris with the K shortly after that too. So
yep.
Thank you two for coming on. Before we
Thanks
get started,
for having us.
How are y'all feeling?
Good.
Feeling pretty good.
Good. About to
I got
get
this nice key lime pie beer that I'm going into. So,
you know, before we started recording, I said it's not going to be confusing because we have two Chris's on, Khris with C, Khris with K, and they synced up so well that they both grabbed their drink at the same time. For those of you who are just listening, so
no confusion.
This just shows how this podcast is going to go today.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gotten to a point where Instagram thinks that we're the same. And like it'll give us the exact same ads, the exact same days. We've had several conversations of like, yeah, I saw this thing that was really cool on Instagram. It was an ad, but like it was talking about narwhals in the Pacific Ocean and how we need to save them. And he was like, no shit, me too. And I was
That
like,
is
no way.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is what it means when you work with someone and you eventually become married.
Yep.
This is what it is. All right. So everyone who's been following, as we always do since I want to say about May, we are starting this episode out with Would You Rather. Now, are y'all ready for Would You Rather? I'm calling this the Would You Rather comic book edition because I've never done this specific type of Would You Rather before. So y'all ready?
Okay.
Great. Love it.
Let's do it.
All right. So, would you rather be on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles team or part of the Autobots?
Ninja Turtles.
I'm going Turtles too.
Yeah.
Turtles
like
are
pizza.
awesome.
I love the Turtles. That's what got me into comics. So like I can't
Turtles
say
are awesome.
no.
I don't blame you.
Now, if I could get Daniel Warren Johnson to draw me, I might have to think about this and be an Autobot.
I mean, to be fair though, the Autobots have that Optimus speech every other episode or every other issue, so
yeah,
you know you're going to get something that's going to be inspiring.
See,
yes, exactly.
You can keep your Daniel Warren Johnson. I'll keep my Gavin Smith as a Ninja Turtle, and we'll be all good.
Honestly,
yeah,
I like it. All right, next, would you rather? Would you rather fight Batman's rogues or Spider-Man's rogues?
Oh, man. Who's gonna kick my ass the worst? But look the coolest doing it.
That is true.
I'm going Spider-Man.
I am too. I mean, Clayface is a hard, especially with the trailer that just dropped. Like that's a hard sell for me to not want that.
Right.
And there's so many good ones in Batman's Rogues Gallery, but Doc Ock, Sandman, Electro, Mysterio.
You got the Lizard. You got he's a deep roster of rogues to fight against. So I don't blame
you. Even Tombstone.
Tombstone. Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Sweet. All right. Final one. Would you rather be on the Teen Titans or on the Champions?
Titans. All day.
Yeah.
I like it.
Steal my answers.
I just want to hang out with Cyborg.
See, I just want to hang out with Robin.
Yeah. Oh, Cyborg and Robin together. Like, if you could add to that mix.
Yeah.
How do you say no to that?
Right.
True. Only reason why I probably would have to think about the Champions because Ms. Marvel and Hulkling, I mean, they would be pretty awesome to hang out with.
Ms. Marvel is
legit.
Yeah.
If you're thinking Champions though, like the young Cyclops was on there.
Oh, true.
Which would be dope because the X-Men are the best.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot about. No, it's still It's still Titans. I just want to be emo with Raven, and then and then get super hyped with Beast Boy and Robin.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like Beast Boy would have you on like some really big uppers to the point where it's you're seeing colors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Primarily green.
Yeah.
But...
Absolutely. Well, that was fun. I love Would You Rather. So, I mean, since we're talking about teams, let's talk about this team. Khris Squared is going to be my nickname for you guys. Khris Squared.
I like that. Khris Squared. That's hitting on a different level of nerdy.
I appreciate it. So, we'll start with K Khris. What was the moment you realized you wanted to make a comic? And then C Khris will let you answer after.
Okay. Probably, no lie, after reading X-Men for the first time.
Honestly? Which one?
Yeah. My very first X-Men book was X-Men Volume 2, number 18. It's with Omega Red. They are in Russia.
Oh.
And Ilyana has just died.
Oh, that's so... Yeah. I love X-Men, especially when they're facing off against Omega Red.
Yes. Yes.
That's a good one. What about you, Khris?
Not to toot my Omega Red horn, but I got Jim Lee to sign X-Men number 4 right on Omega Red's tentacle.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That is awesome.
That is the best.
The people in front of me and behind me had like boxes of books for him to sign. I just had my single comic. Like everybody along the line that worked for his staff were like, "All right, bud, you just have the one comic?" Like, yeah, I just have the one.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
I'm just a fan. I'm not a reseller.
Yeah, I get up there and I put it in front of him, and he like realized that he had an actual fan and not just a store. And so he like stopped and actually talked to my wife and I for, about a minute or so, which I was like, sick. All right, cool.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I would love to sit and talk to Jim Lee for like 30 seconds, honestly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
He was so nice and like super humble. He was like, dude, you're foundational to both Marvel and now DC.
Mm-hmm.
And you would never know it talking to him. He was just like, hey, how are you? Yeah, no, that's great. Awesome. How's your day? Like, didn't say anything about himself, was only asking about she and I. I was like, this is nuts. You're Jim freaking Lee. Like,
right?
What are we doing?
Right. Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, like, I think as a kid, I always thought that there were magicians making comics because it didn't seem like it was a real career path or a thing that I could ever do. It was for like those people. Okay. So I never even thought about it honestly until maybe 8 years ago. And it was like, it'd be cool to make one. I wouldn't even know where to start. So I'll just move on. So, and then it wasn't until really starting Longbox Punk that I had enough other creators tell me like, dude, you should be making comics. And my buddy Chaz Pangburn, I was at like a local con on the campus of NKU, and I was talking to him, and we had a bunch of classes together in college, and he was like, hey, you should be making comics. You'd be way better at tabling than I am. Like, why aren't you doing that? And I was like, I don't know. And from then forward was when I actually started thinking about like, oh, maybe I could do this.
That's awesome. I love it. Every time I ask that question or some variation of that question, I always get a different answer from some people. Yeah. Some people are like Khris with the K, where it's like, I read a comic when I was 2 years old and I was like, I want to make a comic.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot more people that are similar to myself who are like, I didn't really get into comics until like maybe 10 years ago. I was like, man, I really want to make a comic now. And it's like, you get to see that journey. And so I love that in this industry, you got so many people that come from so many different walks of life that are really just putting their all into making, honestly, one of my favorite mediums a reality for themselves. I have talked to you two, as we've established, but I know very little about your collaboration or writing process. So kind of tell me and people listening and watching, like, how, like, who is the writer, who's the artist, or is it kind of a mixture of both, and how does all that work?
Yeah. So I love words, and I can't do sequential art. See how I updated that, Kay? I used to say I can't draw my way out of a paper bag. And
I do appreciate the update, by the way.
He just rode me until I stopped saying
That's fair. That's fair.
But when we started creating Barricade Brigade together, it was very much the collaboration. Like there wasn't a true, I wrote it, he did the artwork. Mm-hmm. Although for traditional understanding standards, I wrote it, he did the artwork. But like, we come up with so much of the story together.
I like that.
When we're writing, that it's like, there were times, I mean, we would get on FaceTime and he would be sketching and stuff, and I would be typing away, and it'd be like, wait, if they're doing this, how did they get from here to there? And then we would talk through that, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So it was really nice to have him as a sounding board. And it honestly was the snake eating its own tail thing, where it was just like, I couldn't tell you where he wrote and where I wrote and where the differences were. Yeah. It just kind of melded together. And then likewise with the art, like, yes, he's putting the pencil and ink and color to paper, and digital screen. And I, and I'm like typing the letters on the keyboard. But when he's doing pencils and stuff, there have been a couple pages where he'll send it to me like, hey, this is what I've got for that page. And I'm like, oh, could we tweak this, or like change the perspective, or, show this more? And so even though I'm not the one like putting the hand to the page, it does feel like I'm part of his creation process with the artwork. So in the back of issue 0, like, we just said created by us. Like, there was no like author, writer, whatever. It was like, no, we created this thing together, and that's how we want to put ourselves forward. Like, we do the majority of podcasts about Barricade Brigade together, unless something happens to the other one. And so like, it's everything we do with CHK is very collaborative.
Yep.
I love that. And when you showed that, for those of you who aren't watching, who's listening, C showed a image of the back of the comic where it has created by, and it has both their names. And it's interesting, and I love it. The title of your company or your publisher is CHK Comics. And until you showed that, I did not know what that stood for. And I was going to ask the question, but it makes so much sense now. So I love how creative that is. And I love how collaborative your teamwork is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more question for you guys, and then we're going to jump into top 3. Are there any movies or TV series that, if you ever get in a creative rut, just help you get out of that and get in the zone? Okay, we'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah. I watch ever since I've loved Star Trek for a long time, but ever since I had a back injury in 22, I have been watching it almost nightly. And when I feel the need for comfort, for adventure, I typically go to, in this order, but they are so close to neck and neck, I will go to Deep Space Nine, or I will go to Star Trek Voyager. And outside of that, now that we have it, X-Men 97.
Those are good. I've heard. I've never watched Star Trek in its entirety. I've seen episodes here and there. When you're sick, you have TV on and whatnot.
Yep. UPN.
Exactly. But I've never actually sat and watched Star Trek. But and this is going to be a huge compliment. I feel like all the cool people watch Star Trek.
We do.
Then you should be watching it. Every series has its pros and cons. So I again, personally, I would start with. I probably would start with D Space Nine,
Okay.
but the original and Next Generation are so near and dear as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without the original series, you don't get where you're at now with Star Trek.
Okay.
So
yeah,
everyone
it's
swears
funny
by
that
Next Generation too. So
yes, the first season or two are kind of rough, but we're also talking about a period in time where you get 24 episodes per
true.
season.
Yeah.
So there's
It's
a
worth
lot
it.
of character development that's happening in those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And that's what brings you the crew that we love, especially once it hits its stride in season 3.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah,
See.
it's funny that you prefer Voyager and Deep Space because I prefer the original series and Next Generation. Like for me, I know the original series is super campy. I know it is very cheesy.
It is.
I love that charm. I love it.
Too,
It like the lighting where it's just across Shatner's eyes as he's smoldering.
Yes,
Peak
they did
TV.
so
That
much.
is peak.
They
Yeah.
did so much stuff like that was just so cool
With
and
so
really
little.
ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like a colorist using color to convey an emotion in a comic in that sense. Because they would highlight a portion of a face. They would low light other people's faces like that. It was really kind of a masterclass in practical effects being used to affect how the story is being told.
I love that. I love that.
And now like Strange New Worlds is incredible, dude. Like so good. It's made me fall in love with Star Trek all over again. Which is tough because I love Star Trek. But the new one is so freaking good. Like the characters are so well done.
Yes,
every
they are.
episode like focuses on a different character, so you get to learn more about one at a time instead of just like fire hose on the entire crew. Excellent.
I love that. Okay. Like people who have listened to this podcast for a while know I love character work. I love a good character story. And so you saying that it focuses on
Strange New Worlds is one of the better places to start.
Okay.
And like the effects get better. The joke is like Star Trek's effects are terrible. And they are, but they're doing more with less. And like I think they knew that. And I think that's a pride point for like the technicians working on that show. I'm like, we had 6 can lights and that's it. And this is what we did. And like so that point for the original series specifically is impressive, but the original focused more on like they go to all these different worlds and they have all these different types of races and species and stuff, and yet like the stories and the feelings and the through lines were all kind of the same. So they're like, everybody is different, but also we're all kind of the same. And it makes sense like timeline wise when it came out in the late 60s of just like okay, ship that tracks. But Strange New Worlds has modern technology, they've got more of a budget and they've got really good actors, and so like palette wise it might be the easiest to step into because it's like, oh, this is all fresh and you don't need to know anything about anything else to enjoy.
See, what's a TV show or a movie that helps you get out of your creative rut?
So thinking about it, when I'm stuck, where I turn is honestly like 90s era pro wrestling.
Interesting.
Hang with me. So for me, like because I grew up watching wrestling and I always want to keep in mind like the heart of just exploration and imagination that I had as a kid. For like putting on like the Royal Rumble from 1997, I know every single match on that show, so I don't have to super focus on it, but it's familiar enough that I can tap into it, know what's happening, and then my brain can also work on other things. So it like frees up part of my brain that's stuck on the like, what am I doing? What do I need to, where do I need to start? Like it takes care of that part of my brain, so that the creative part of my brain can just kind of go.
That makes sense.
And then like watching the matches, it's like, oh, because I can't watch wrestling and not think, well, what if they did it this way? Or like, what if that? And so suddenly, just because I'm doing that, which happens automatically when I watch it, it then starts my brain creatively thinking of different outcomes for matches, different outcomes for entire shows. And then I can take that same energy and then put it into, I was thinking about this story. What if I did that? And applying that same thought pattern to whatever it was that I was working on, then suddenly I'm like, I got it. And then I can go right back into it.
That actually makes a lot of sense. It's like, I've taken quite a few writing classes, and a lot of times they'll say, sometimes your best writing is not even actually writing. It's just stepping away and just doing something else. And then your brain just kind of like dumps all the gunk that's been building up, and you can get in the zone. I love it.
Yeah, and if I've had a bad day, I turn to wrestling. If I've had a great day, I turn to wrestling. So it's usually an easy win if the wife come home and I've got, especially like the late 90s wrestling stuff on. If I'm watching anything from that era, she's like, "Are you okay? Do you need me to leave you alone?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just need to watch this and zone out." She's, okay, I'll be back here.
But now, time for our next segment. Top 3. So we have our top 3 favorite horror movie villains.
Oh, just villains, man.
Yes. Kay, we'll start with you.
I love this. I love being on your show, dude.
I'm assuming everyone starts with you, C.
Yeah.
Usually, yeah. Or he starts.
Yeah, I'm good with talking.
He's good at starting. Okay, so I'm going to go with the zombies from Night of the Living Dead, Romero's original black and white version.
Okay, classic.
Because they are no one and they are everyone, and it can be anyone, including the person who's completely fine right next to you right now.
Right.
Man, I think I want to go Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I love that movie. The character design is fantastic. Even before I saw the movie, and I had just seen images of of the creature, I loved the creature. And then getting to see the movie and see that this creature is attacking because he's trying to protect nature, like it's very man thing, very swamp thing. Like, yes, let's go. Last one, man. The last one's always the hard one.
Yeah.
Because where do you go?
Yeah.
You can go classic. You can go not.
And it's always hard to narrow it down from like 3. That's why I chose top 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Count Orlok from Nosferatu.
Yeah, you are.
That's a good one. That is a good one. All right, C, your turn.
I was gonna go Orlok. But that's okay, because I'll take Bela Lugosi. Not Dracula, just Dracula. But like, let's be real, the best Dracula is and forever will be Bela Lugosi. If we go modern horror, I like the Terrifier as a character. Because he doesn't say a word. And he's just totally demented and like that borderline psychotic. Like in the second one when he's putting on the sunflower sunglasses and just like turns to the store clerk, like all grinning, just what are you doing? Like, because Michael Myers doesn't talk either, but he's just behind the mask and like dead inside the whole time.
Right.
And Terrifier, even though he doesn't talk, I forget the guy's name who plays the Terrifier, but like he's so good at the physical emotion of the character and does all the stupid, crazy, demented torturing and murdering and all the things. But so he as a character I think is fun.
Okay.
And then if we're going it's so hard.
Yeah, it is.
If we're going like hive mind monsters like your zombies, I would go whatever the creatures are in the Descent that are in the caves, and then start snatching the women one by one.
Mhm.
I think the design is eerie. It helps that it's one of my favorite movies. But like
Yeah.
the way that they move, those actors in the whole full suits and stuff portrayed the just weird deranged movements as they were crawling through the caves, and the idea of there could be monsters living in caves that don't need to see and can still find and feast on people. Like that's a terrifying idea. And yeah, those will be my top 3.
There you
I
go.
love it. All right. Now what we actually are here to talk about. Barricade Brigade. Where'd that story come from?
So it came from the two of us meeting and having a really awkward FaceTime.
That sounds
awkward.
right.
Once I will completely, because I am very quiet typically. Like it takes me some time to open up.
And I'm not.
He smashed the ice. It was all over the place. And then there we were in it, like, and we were just like, we should write what we know. What do we know? What do we love? We love punk. We love horror. We love monsters. We love all these things. And we just started, like we said, back and forthing on how does this thing go. And it took a little time, at least on my end, to like think through how to play with the toys.
Okay.
But once I figured that out, I was like, this thing just goes and can just go.
Yeah.
It was super easy once we did that.
In that initial awkward FaceTime, we once we were like, okay, so like punk band and fighting monsters, then it was like we were trying to one up each other with like, they'll fight monsters, they'll fight real monsters. I said, well, real monsters are like big corporations. They'll fight corporations that are monsters. And so like it just, we just kept adding to each other and throwing the ball back and forth until we had this massive boulder of a story. And then that's like, it really did just kind of fall out of our brains onto the page and was like, cool, we have a comic now. There it is.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was that discussion, you know what it reminds me of now that I think about it? It reminds me of the legend of Eastman and Laird coming up with the Ninja Turtles. Like hanging out and just one-upping each other.
Yeah.
And look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Since then, there's been more
300 issues and
we've see, and that's where like who did what of the story comes in, because there's a lot that in between 0 and writing 1. Like I'm part of the Abenaki tribe of indigenous peoples, which is part of the like Mississauga band of tribes. And so I was like, my hard line was someone in this band, in this comic, needs to be Abenaki because it's a dying tribe. The language is almost dead. And I was like, it's important to me that we at least represent that in some way, shape, or form. And so I was like, well, powwows are always about drums. Why not have the drummer be our indigenous character? And so then, because I wanted it to be authentic, but also like properly represented, I went down a really big rabbit hole, which was super fun to go down, about like learning about Abenaki language and the history of the tribe and like different folk tales and belief systems. And so a lot of that stuff that no one ever sees goes into the lore that we start to hear and find out in chapter 1. But it all started with like, this is my line in the sand in
Nice.
0.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. A lot of times we'll see in a lot of comics a lot of like folklore or a lot of, historical information that is kind of twisted a little bit so that it's more palatable for people to understand and be able to digest.
Yeah.
But I think it does something to where like it allows others to be able to kind of get a glimpse into those cultures and then be able to be like, okay, this is pretty cool. I want to know more. And then they go down that rabbit hole. So I love that you put that line of saying and that it's becoming a reality where it's part of the story now. So things like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to that same point, Mick, the guitar player in the band, he's Latino like me. Now, I am mestizo. My roots are Lincoln and Mayan native heritage. I know my ancestors fought the Spanish when they showed up the first time. They lost, but they died in a hero's battle, in my opinion. And so having him, because this is set where, make sure I'm pointing at the right person, where Toba would be from. He is not from there. But one thing that we discussed during all this, and for different reasons, was trade routes for the Mayan and the Aztec and all. They were a lot more expansive than most people really know.
Yeah.
And we only know that because we are finding evidence of that. So in that same breath, it's like, okay, but there's this trade that has happened, and now we've got someone that doesn't belong but is there, and so now does belong. And belonging where you don't belong is also just a part of punk culture. So we're hitting it all over the place.
Yeah. And it's important to me for it to be authentic, right? Like I don't want to say like check a DEI box, right? Like I don't want to say, oh, we're going to have the manager be a black character because I'm not black. I don't know the black experience in the punk rock scene. So like I don't feel qualified or right in trying to create that story. I'll create what I know, because that back to my conversation with Chaz, write what you know was the first thing that he said, because like I don't even know where to start. And I was like, write what you know, and then just bend genres or set it in a weird setting or whatever, but like write what you know. And so for me, of the like, okay, well, I didn't really start digging into any. It was always a joke growing up, like, oh yeah, we're Native American, that's why I don't sunburn, that's why I don't have a ton of body hair. But like, that's true. But also I was like, I don't want it to just be a joke. Like this should mean something more to me than it does. And so I did the research and I filled out the tribal application and just got my tribal card. Like, when was that, Kay? Last year? I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where I was like, damn it, I want to have that. Like, I want this to be an officially like recognized thing, because I'm taking this serious. And so that's why it was easy for me to go down the rabbit hole of, like, I was even watching YouTube videos in the Abenaki language, reading children's books just to hear the language in its most simplest forms, like for kids. And just hearing it like gave me an even deeper appreciation for the language. And then suddenly it was like, okay, well, I know a lot of people can't pronounce the words because I can't pronounce the words. So like the difference between how it's actually spelled and how it sounds, there are words that we manipulated to be spelled more like their pronunciation, so that there might not be the recognition of like, oh, this is a completely different language. But like it's just how you would hear it said.
Yeah. I love that. That is awesome. I love how you talked about, or you mentioned like bending the genres, because looking up this story, this is like a punk rock horror book. Now, both of you know there's wildly different types of horror. out
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
What would this book fall up under genre-wise in the horror genre? Like, would it be like a monster type horror, or would it be like a slasher? How would you
It's
describe
monster.
I think
It's
it's
got
creature.
some body horror to it because
body
of
horror?
the shape-shifting
Okay.
aspect of the monsters. And there's a lot of, just suspense because,
Oh, that
there
is
you go.
fantastic.
Yeah. And one thing that we haven't really discussed this with anyone is the lore, and the reason why he's bloody already is because they tear through their current external appearance
Jesus.
as part of their shape-shifting. So there's a fight scene that I've got an inking video that I did for chapter 1 where they're fighting a young punk that recognize him. They know what he is, and they follow him out of the club, and they fight him, and he starts turning into this snake lizard type deal, and he's just got skin falling off of him.
Dude,
And
the neck twist as the skin is flaking off is so good.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, his mouth. The first time when I have him turn his head, and his mouth is elongating into a snake-like mouth, and it's tearing at the jaw.
Mm-hmm.
His human skin is tearing, and you can see reptilian skin underneath.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of body horror. I find it to be unique in how it's handled because it's one of those genres of horror where I feel like it can mix with comedy and work really well. Yeah, because I feel like most horror just can't mix with comedy, but body horror I feel like works really well with comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, look at Army of Darkness
Mm-hmm.
when Ash starts with like the itchy shoulder and it's just the eyeball poking out, and he's like, ah, and it develops into his head, and then he completely rips out into the like negative Ash, like that part, and then I do it all the time, and no one ever gets the reference, but when Evil Ash, when they're about to storm the castle, and he's sitting on the horse above the battlefield, and he's like, Sally, and his jaw pops out, and he's got it like tied on by a twine, and he has to say it like 3 times before, and then he's just like, Sally Forth, because he has to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah,
is peak comedy.
That is
and it's
peak comedy.
like anytime I do it, no one ever gets the Sally Forth.
Oh,
so when making this story, what was the most difficult part in mixing a punk rock story and making it a horror story as well?
So I think like as I was scripting it, I didn't want it to just be all monsters all the time, because the story's about the band, right? Like it's about Hot Watermelon and about what they're going through as friends, as they're reuniting, as they're fighting together, as they're experiencing this like totally ridiculous and terrifying reality. And so I wanted to keep them at the forefront of the story. So there were things that, like when we would FaceTime and I'd be typing and he'd be sketching, that I would start writing and they'd be like, wait, I don't think that's, hey, does this work? And he'd be like, if we're trying to move towards that, like maybe not. And so there were a lot of pages that we like fully scripted and then ended up just completely cutting, because it was like, that doesn't serve the story, like that doesn't serve our characters, so we can't have that. And so it was more leaning into how would a punk band react instead of how would the final girl react. And like those are 2 very different reactions. And so keeping that of like, okay, if we're in the band, what are we doing in this situation? Like, we're not killing the monster because it's a monster. We're standing up for the kid that monster was bullying in the club. So like that's the motivation to then be like, hey, get out of our scene, chump. Like, I'm going to call you out for being an a-hole. Yeah. And so that's where we would then include the monsters, but we wanted the monsters not just to represent monsters and, terrible people, but also like it's them fighting against a lot of what we're getting really big brain here. It's them fighting against like what society is saying is the normal versus what a punk band in the scene says is normal. Society says you're different, so you're not for me. The scene says you're different, so let me give you a hand up.
Okay.
Like, oh, I'm above you, and that's how that's supposed to be. Versus, oh, you fell down? Here, let me pull you back up. Like, we're in this together. And so those ideas, we tried to keep every step of the way as we went through, and also like put our characters through a bunch of stuff, but we give them powers. So it's okay because they can handle themselves even better. But then, they end up at Nest Fest, and who knows what happens there.
Mayhem, even. But not what's his face from 30 Rock. Mayhem.
Right.
Dennis.
What's his face?
Yeah, Dennis. I can't think of the actor's name.
Oh, this is awesome. I love this. Khris with the C, Khris with a K. Thank you so much for coming on here. Can you give us a short log line of the story of Barricade Brigade? And then K, I want you to tell us about the Kickstarter of the campaign.
So at its essence, Barricade Brigade is about a punk band named Hot Watermelon who are just trying to defend their local concert venue from a corporate monster. But they realize that he's actually a real monster. And there's no subtext at all in that statement. It's just a comic book, relax, corporations. But because of that realization, in chapter 1, it's what do they do with this information? How do they move forward knowing that real monsters exist and are among them? And so they have to reunite with an old band member. They are imbued with powers that come from a mysterious alien race that we learn all about. And then gloves come off and they battle some real monsters and they hang out with some bands along the way. They go and play several shows. They get to meet some real life bands that are in the comic. And at the end of the day, everything gets turned on its head and nothing ends even close to how it started. That's for chapter 2.
Yep.
I'm sold. And I have to interject and say no corporations were harmed in the making of this comic.
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. None. We don't name anybody by name that we could, but we don't because we're above that.
Of course. Exactly.
We rise above, as some might say.
All right, okay. Talk about the Kickstarter.
Okay, so Kickstarter, it's running through August 4th. The physical book is only $20 and we'll ship it anywhere in the world. We are talking 86 pages of Barricade Brigade, but wait, there's more. We have from Evan Johnston a 20-page B-side secondary story that's completely unrelated that is going to be in there. So because of printing and making sure we have room for all the extras, there's some of the art from his first portion of Artifacts. This is a whole new set of characters that are going back to the same world. His story is a dystopian sci-fi horror story, so it fits very well with Barricade Brigade.
Okay.
We will really have good. Yeah. It's a great story, and Evan is a great guy. It's going to be 108 pages of interiors. We have no variant covers. We're just doing front cover is Barricade Brigade, back cover is Artifacts. So you get one cover. We just hit funding. Our first stretch goal is going to be doing spot gloss on the covers.
Okay.
That's an exclusive. We haven't said that anywhere.
Yeah, that's we have some really cool stuff that we've got as far as ways you can do this. We've got the VIP package, which is the book. It is a VIP badge on a lanyard.
That's awesome.
A guitar pick, sticker, and then a poster as well, and a patch.
Awesome.
So you can get that. That's the only way you're going to get the pick or the lanyard. The poster will be available as an add-on. The patch is available as an add-on. I will be making the patches as well as screen printing shirts. Because we are
Because
punks that
DIY, baby.
that's right, we do it ourselves. Trying to think, what else do we got? Oh, we have from Alyssa from Dreaded Crochet Creations has one left of we have one spot left for a custom crocheted uh plushie of a monster from the book.
Oh,
She's
awesome.
got yarn that looks almost exactly this color. Um and then we also have a 7-inch record with a song on it that was written for us and recorded for us by a band called the Antibodies, that they took lyrics that were like, here's a line of lyrics and here's the title of the song in Zero, and wrote a whole song for us.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the vinyl itself will be green, like watermelon green.
That is sweet.
Yeah.
There's the lyric.
Okay.
Yeah. Literally one bubble.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, you probably should just go ahead and go to the YouTube channel and watch this, because you got to see that lyric.
It's true. Yeah. Just jump to 53 minutes in and you'll see the single bubble that we wrote. That was actually something that I know for sure that I wrote that lyric line. 'Cause there's a lot in Zero that I didn't write because I was like, I don't know, man. Just fill it in.
That was really an interesting thing about how we did Zero. It was so collaborative that it was like, okay, we've got all the beats, and I was putting things down, and I was literally filling in speech bubbles just to have filler for, like, we've got to have dialogue.
Yeah,
you
to
know,
know it fit on the page, and a lot of what he wrote, I was like, great, no, keep that. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
done.
There was very little that got changed at that point, and that's how snake eating its own tail we are about this.
Yeah. So wrapping everything up, CK, thank you again for coming on here. This has been awesome.
Thank you. This is
Yes,
great.
Of course.
Seriously. Now it is
fair.
full on down the line, getting this campaign finished, and then for me, I'm gonna have to continue
finishing the book.
Yes, I've got a lot. I'm like 30 pages into the art out of 86. I've got a long way to go.
Yeah, and I didn't make it easy on him either.
No, the number of times it's like, you know what a festival looks like. Draw that.
Put that in this double page spread.
Yes,
it's gonna be a lot of long nights, Kay. A lot of long nights.
It is, but it's. I enjoy doing it, so I'm gonna keep doing it as long as I can.
Yep,
that is awesome. Well, everyone, go follow C and K at CHK Comics and back their campaign. All links will be in the description below. It looks awesome, so why not support it? You know,
why not? And you can get a digital copy for super cheap. Like what? Just to toot our own horns for like 2 seconds. Okay. We're offering 106 pages of a square bound digest sized book. That's a full ass trade for less than some people charge for a 30-page floppy on Kickstarter. I'm just going to put that out there, that you're getting the most bang for your buck with what we're doing on this campaign, more so than I think anybody else is willing to do, because we're not paying ourselves. We set the funding goal at what it was, literally to cover the cost of printing it and shipping it and making the extras that we've got. If it's not those things, we're not taking any of that money. So like, we're paying Evan, but we're not paying ourselves. And like, that's because we understand what it's like to be broke punks. Like, you want a cool comic? $20, 106 pages. Granted, you got to pay shipping, and shipping is awful. And thanks for all the new tariffs, US.
Yeah, fantastic.
But you know, we'll figure that out for you. You just got to say, yeah, here's $20 plus shipping, and we'll send you a badass 106-page comic.
Yeah, it's worth it. That is worth it.
It costs less money or more money to eat dinner than it does to get 106 pages of a badass stories comic. So
Yep.
two MFers.
Awesome. Well, CK, again, thank y'all for coming on here. This has been fantastic. But everyone, this has been the Divergent Comics Podcast. Thank you again, C and K, for being on here. You guys, go read Barricade Brigade.
Yeah.
Yeah.